this is the core they started with, and they want it to look like that. I'm going to first flip it up. Watch what happens. Okay? Now I'm going to go back to where we started, and now I'm going to flip it down. What happens each time?
It goes to the same
Flipping
thing.
it up or flipping? Oh, do you think we have to test it on their courseware?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now are they the same the way they look now? I'm going to flip this one up. Maybe. There, I'm going to flip that one up, and I'm going to flip this one down. What? Same. Okay. What did we find out?
They're the same.
An up flip. Yeah. So from now on, if someone's going to, if you want me to flip it up or down, what we call that is an up-down flip. We don't call it an up flip. We don't call it a down flip. We call it an up-down flip because that shows people we're talking to that we know doesn't matter if you flip it up or if you flip it down, you get the same result. So instead of okay, and then do an up-down flip on. Oh, so you had a combination of two flips. All right, and slide it into place. And then this one you don't have done yet, but that's okay. You're thinking about it.
But I had it wrong.
Okay, and now I'm going to open up. I'm going to see if these three core squares are in the position that you had planned. Yep. 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 Means you're writing excellent directions. Why do you think it is that the computer with the quilting software, since that software is for us to use to design quilts, why won't it let us do something we found out about quilts, which is diagonal flips? Maybe they've never heard of them. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah. Maybe there is no. Maybe the people that put the thing in didn't know about diagonal flips, or maybe like there isn't any like CC, like C. Any code thing.
Any command? There's not a command
Maybe
to...
they didn't get a computer chip for that.
It lets us do sideways flips, it lets us do up-down flips, it lets us copy cores, it lets us build a core square.
But
it's letting you do everything you guys have been doing
Except for diagonal
flips.
Maybe the person
Do you think that's possible that you thought of something that the people who designed that software didn't think of?
Yeah. But then the turtle went.
Just write the word symmetrical and then tell me what you think it has to do with, okay? We'll write for a few minutes and then we'll share our ideas and see what everybody was thinking about. And so there's two places in the books that I want to reread to you quickly, and then I want us to talk about the question that Amanda asked during the story. You probably didn't hear her if you were sitting in the back because she said it pretty quietly, but it was a good question, and you might have been thinking this question while I was reading too. Back when Amelia and Maude were first beginning, they were still in the planning stages. They hadn't sewed anything yet. This is what Maude said. We'll each make a house, one at each end of the bedspread. Then it will be symmetrical. And Amanda, while she was listening to the story, said, what's symmetrical? Let's talk about that word, symmetrical. Who can share with the group? What do you think, what's your guess? What do you think it might have to do with? Paul, what's your guess?
A house.
Okay, symmetrical might be a word that only has to do with houses. Okay, what would it mean? What about houses would symmetrical have to do with? What else could be symmetrical?
Carpet.
The carpet could be symmetrical. What would a carpet be like that was symmetrical?
Like, if it was all like gray.
If it was all gray, it would be symmetrical? What are you thinking about the word symmetrical?
I think symmetrical means things that are like the same.
Tell me more about that, because I don't know exactly what you mean when it says they're the same. You mean you agree with Nicole that symmetrical means identical? Exactly the same, can't tell them apart.
Well, you can sort of tell them apart.
How could you tell them apart if they were exactly the same?
Is that quilt symmetric?
Symmetrical, yes.
How do you know that?
Because these two would touch each other. They're in the same spots. These two.
You mean so if you did a line down here
Yeah.
and you folded it over?
Yeah, I'm thinking of folding it.
But is there any other line of symmetry there? Suppose I did diagonal? Yeah.
I think yes. I think it is yes.
Can you always start with a core square that's not symmetrical, but always find a way to make a 2 by 2 that's symmetrical? None of you showed me that. Every one of you was able to. Every one of you took every core square you had that was not symmetrical, and you made a symmetrical 2 by 2 design. Every one of you. How many more do you think we'd have to test before we could say you can always do it?
100 million thousand.
We would have to probably test all the core squares in the world.
Could we do that?
No.